Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Bill, I'm getting laid off at the end of the month. Naturally, I would like to go to the dentist before my benefits run out. What a sad fucking state. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. I really believe that people should have some sort of fucking health care. We really need to overthrow these fucking bankers because there's plenty of money out there if those banker cunts weren't fucking charging the U.S. government interest for its own fucking money. Plowing ahead. Anyways, here we go. Since I did not care much for my current dentist, I asked my fiancée for the name of hers. All right, so just get you caught up if you didn't get lost on my moronic rant with no information behind it there. Okay, this guy's getting laid off. He wants to get his teeth cleaned before his health insurance runs out. He doesn't like his dentist, so he asks his fiancée for the name of hers. He says, my fiancée is Vietnamese and gave me the name of her dentist, who is also Vietnamese. Bear in mind, this is a typical Vietnamese dentist office. You have a dentist, an office manager, who's usually a woman over 50, and 2 or 3, and he writes this in capital letters, hot Asian hygienists. I had a cleaning from one of the hygienists, who couldn't have been more than 20 years old, and screamed of junior college. This was the high point of her career until she landed that MRS degree. I don't even know what that is. Maybe I'm dumb. So anyways, I'm getting my teeth cleaned. We were flirting back and forth. The appointment ended, and we headed to the old 50-plus office manager. Before I could even utter a word, the old bag of bones said in broken English, "This appointment is covered, but you can't come back until you find another job." Jesus Christ. Anyways, he says, my hot hygienist, who up until that time was totally into me, quickly looked at the floor and made an immediate beeline to the nearest unoccupied exam room. Now, I am not a racist, but I was so mad. A sentence like this never ends good. Okay, anything that starts with I'm not racist, okay? But these motherfucking... Anyways, he says, now, I am not a racist, but I was so mad that I could have slapped that bitch back to the Vietnamese rice paddies of 1974. Here we go. He's not racist, everybody. How could she say that, especially in front of the hottie who was obviously as dumb as she looked? Jesus Christ, dude. When I got back to work, I told my coworkers the story, and they implied that I was the victim of reverse racism. If I was Asian and had eyes that couldn't see through a keyhole... Jesus Christ, dude. She would have bit her tongue or said something more appropriate. What do you think? Okay. What do I think? All right, let me go with my first thought. Thought number 1, dude, you should not be getting married. You should not be getting married, okay? Especially because not only are you hitting on these fucking women, you're so fucking, like, into this shit. Like, you just told me you were engaged. And now you're dragging me into your bullshit. Don't you hate when people do that? Like, I don't mind. If a guy cheats on his girl, I don't give a fuck. Just don't drag me into it. You know? So then I got to fucking fix my face, too, the next time I see your girlfriend. Don't you hate when people do that? You know? Do what you do. Do what you do. Do it over there. Don't do it near me. See? Well, now you're telling me you're fucking engaged, and now you're hitting on... First of all, why are you hitting on this girl? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because you're not done fucking. And because you're not done fucking, you're setting yourself up, dude, for a brutal, brutal situation. The last thing you should be doing is getting married. You shouldn't even have a fucking girlfriend right now. Okay? And then there's a whole weird thing where your girlfriend's Vietnamese, you go in here, they got all these hot Vietnamese girls, and you're saying you're not racist, but then you're saying fucked up shit about them. But I will give you the benefit of the doubt because this is written. Okay? And the one thing that sucks about writing shit is you lose the tone, and a lot of times people are trying to joke around, so it might have been the way I read it. So we'll leave all of that out of there. But, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, you should, the biggest fucking thing about this is don't get married. You're not ready to get married, okay? I think you're ready to go to Vietnam and fucking hit a singles bar. I think you're ready to do that, but you are not ready to be married, so don't fucking do it, all right? You know, just sit down and ask yourself, am I done fucking? I guess other women, because that's what you're signing up for. And you're going to lose half your shit, and you're going to have to, even if you don't have a kid, you're going to have to pay alimony. At least that's how it works in New York, where you have to pay, if you're married 7 years, for 3.5 years, you have to pay alimony to a healthy human being who really should just go out and get a fucking job, but for some reason they don't have to. So that's my advice. I would say don't get married. But as far as were you an example of reverse racism? No, you were a victim of a 50-year-old woman who is the typical front desk person at any medical place. They always yell out intimate information, constantly, because they're so in the job that they stop understanding that they're in front of the public. That shit, you walk in there, Mr. Johnson, did you get that ointment? How did it work out? They'll yell that across. I actually worked in a dental office, and I saw people haggling over money all the time at the fucking front desk, and I saw it bother a lot of people. And I don't know. I don't think you were a victim of reverse racism. I think that the old bag of bones, as you call her, probably would have said that to anybody else. She sounds like, you kind of have to be a tough person to work the front desk because a lot of people try to get out of paying their shit. So what you should have done was talk to the dentist or even taken her aside. And that's what you do in that situation. Just be like, look, I understand that I don't have a job right now, and you really don't need to be yelling that. I think you owe me an apology. That's the way you handle it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go the reverse race. You got to understand there's cunts in every race. So don't take it racially. If she said, hey, round eye, why don't you go get a job at Dunkin' Donuts so you can afford the next fucking payment, all right? You fat fuck. She said something like that, yeah. But she kind of laid the facts. She was rude. That's what I would go with on that one. Then again, I wasn't there. All right. What am I up to here? 39. Okay, I got to read this revenge story, and then I got to get on with my day because this is my last day in Stockholm. Sweden, yeah, and I want to go have a good time. All right, I called this part Revenge of the Revenge Stories. All right, here's a revenge story that comes back, bringing this topic back. Here's this guy's revenge story. You always hear about people fucking up someone's car. I actually used this guy's car to fuck him up. And no, I didn't run him over or any stupid shit like that. This was more subtle and much more fun. I was employed by a company that made electronic equipment for computers a number of years back, and I drove one of the many forklifts in the warehouse during the regular day shift. It was one of those warehouses where the warehouse, the administration, was an all-in-one building, which meant that everyone employed in the company worked in the same location. The warehouse manager at the time, my boss's boss, was this short Mexican dude who stood about 5'5" and was a fantastic shitbag asshole. Just going to let you digest that. I've never heard that vulgarity put together that way. Fantastic shitbag asshole to anyone taller than him, which meant pretty much the entire planet, with the exception of China and maybe one island in Indonesia. God, I'm bad. He believed that leadership meant he could be an asshole to whoever damn well he pleased, and it pleased him a whole fucking lot to be an asshole to me. I won't bore you with the issue or your listeners with the details, but his Napoleon complex drove his actions more than any other reason. This is what always happens when I start to read him bad. I think if I read it faster, I will start reading it better. Why don't I take a breath, slow down, and read the rest? Okay, here we go. Here comes the revenge. My job would be on the line if I outright faced off with this guy. So a brawl would be out of the question. And frankly, the whole morale of the workplace would lift a little bit if this shitbag was taken down a notch or two. So I decided to take matters in my own hands without the use of physical violence or property damage. Now this here is actually a unique way to go. All right? Here we go. He said, what I did was I put up his car for sale, and here's how I did it. At the time, I worked for this company. The PT Cruiser had just come out, and this Mexican closet case went out and bought himself one. Maybe he thought they weren't as gay as everyone else knew they were, but hey, this fucknut didn't have both oars in the water in the first place. Some months before, I struck up a great friendship with this chick who worked at the front desk, who also doubled as a human resource assistant. I took her out to lunch at a place of her choosing in exchange for this shitbag's home phone number. Here's where the fun begins. I picked up two different local newspapers, and I took out ads in the classifieds for this guy's car and arranged to have them run for a week. The ads basically said that I had a brand new PT Cruiser for sale for less than half the cost of the new one, and I had to leave the country soon but couldn't take the car with me. I also worked at odd hours, and the best time to get a hold of me would be between the hours of 1 and 5 in the morning. Newspapers got really lax about their classified ads. Used to be they'd call the number you gave them to make sure it wasn't bullshit, but since the internet and Craigslist took over, they rarely checked. I placed the same ad in 2 papers on Monday afternoon and quietly waited. Wednesday rolls around and I can already see the result of my handiwork. This fucker shows up to work without a shave, pours himself fuckloads of coffee all day while cowering in his office like one of those baby monkeys with the wire cage mother. I don't know what that means. He'd obviously been getting calls at fuck all hours of the night and couldn't sleep for shit. It may have cost me a couple of bucks to get the ads up, but to see this asshole bloodshot and out of his head more than made up for it. That's actually pretty decent. And with that, I'm going to do overrated, underrated. And I actually have to commend that guy because there was no physical violence. Didn't chop his hair off. He didn't fuck up his car. He just had people. I like how he also somehow had other people doing his dirty work for him. I'd give that one an 8. All right.